Okay, so exam 1, first exam in general chemistry. What do you study? Well, everything, yeah. On the exam, it's just, I change it often, but it seems like what I've come down to right now is the exam is just going to be 10 problems, plus or minus, right? So roughly that amount, so 10 points apiece, there's your 100 points. So it's pretty much like taking 10 quizzes, okay? So if you think about it time-wise, right, you took about 10 minutes to take this quiz. Well, you don't have 100 minutes on the exam. You only have like 55, right, because the next class might kick us out. But we have about 5 extra minutes. You can start a little bit early maybe, right? I show up early. But so right around 55 minutes is all you have. So when you're studying for this exam, right, you want to study the homework, the quizzes, and what were the in-class problems. I wouldn't go back and read the chapters and that sort of thing. What I'm really after as your teacher is if student X bombed this quiz that we just took, that's great as long as student X realizes what they did wrong, right? So then they get the 10 points right on the exam, and so what if they bomb the quiz? The quiz is minuscule. You're going to have, 30-some odd quiz scores. We're going to drop the lowest number of them, right? So, and it's such a low percentage of your grade. So if you bomb a quiz, the quiz did its job if you bombed it and you get it right on the exam. That's the purpose of the quiz. And to keep you up, right? So that's I would review the homework, in-class problems, and your quizzes, but the quizzes are really just in-class problems and stuff, and homework. So that's how I would study for it. There no extra credit, no bonus points. No. So if you want to put some pressure on yourself, just have your little clocks, as you're studying, have your clock staring at you or something. That would make you nervous, right? What's that? Yeah. Okay, so tomorrow we have a couple choices for our pizza help session, our PHS. So tomorrow in this room, either noon to 1:30 or at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So we've got a couple options for this one. I don't know if there's...
Are you doing both or you want to speak?
No, we're only going to do one. So with the one that the class likes the most, that's the one that we'll have. So how about noon to 1:30? Raise your hand if you like noon to 1:30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. How about the 5? Okay. Oh, noon to 1:30 wins. Easy. Okay. So from noon to 1:30. Now this is not something you have to go to. No, this is, I'm just going to work problems, just like we are right now. Except I would prefer that you work the problems and not me, because, right, Connor, what's the point? Oh, Smith knows how to work the problems. I ain't going to help you on the exam. So, no, you need to, we'll go to the boards and work problems. But the help session is just whatever, you come and go as you please. You ask, you have a question on a certain type of problem, you want to practice on, it's your help session. It's totally optional. Nothing new, we'll just go over that sort of stuff. So, in our review for today, I added this morning, so it's not in your notes. You really don't need it. I just wanted to bullet out all the different parts that we covered for the last 8 class periods, right? A lot of naming. There's significant figures in mathematical calculations, right? There's different rules for plus minus versus multiplication and division. We did a lot of dimensional analysis. We did some easy ones like converting centimeters to meters. We did some harder ones like converting centimeters per second to kilometers per hour, right? But know those metric conversions. There's nuclide symbols and finding molar mass from fractional abundance. Remember, those were easy. You pretty much just had a table, you multiplied across, then you added everything up. Then it matched something on the periodic table. Balancing chemical equations. leave elements that are by themselves for last. We converted grams to moles or the other way around, moles to grams. All that was with molar mass again of that compound. Use the periodic table to get it. Given percent composition, find its molecular formula. That was today's quiz. Then I threw one in there, I don't know where it fits, calculate the mass of a single molecule or formula unit. Okay, so out of all those bullets, I should have numbered them, but let's just, it's hard to get people to talk, so I'm just going to pick on Manuel. Which problem up there, do you want to just start at the beginning, or do you want to just, you pick something up that's harder to go to the boards? What's it? Do you have a preference?
The one that you go from like smallest.
Oh, conversions. All right, he wants to start with conversions. So let's go to the boards, and let's start with some conversions here. Let's see if I can find the ugly ones. So find a spot up at the boards. I don't have a hard one. I have to write one. So you have these problems. I'm just going to add one here. Let's do these three, and I'll add a number 3. Now these are correct. Provide your answers to the correct number of sig figs in here. Let's try. There, that's as hard as it's going to get, I'd say. So show your work for all 3 of these. Now remember, I'm going to give you all the conversions except for the metric ones. So those you got to know. So see if you can work these out. So there's 3 of them. Yeah, I made an extra hard one. So do 1, 2, and then 3. Unless you just want to do number 3. You guys have a preference? All right, let's just do number 3, because that's the hardest one, right? Let's just do number 3. Because if you can do 3, you can do any of them. Right? Yeah, let's just do number 3. 2.8 centimeters per second to kilometers per hour. You can do this. You can do anything that I'm going to throw at you. Right, Sydney? Oh, you can erase. Go ahead and erase all that.
Oh.
So noon to 5:30. I got to remember that. All right, now remember the trick to this? To me, the trick was how you start out. Do that box thing, but put the seconds in the bottom. Right? Because it's centimeters per second. So this has to go down there because it's per second.
So at first.
So you got to get, it doesn't matter, the order doesn't matter. You can either go centimeters to kilometers first or go seconds to hours first. It didn't matter which one you did first. So you guys remember doing this? It doesn't matter whether you go from centimeters to kilometers first or all the way from seconds to hours first.
And then there's 1,000 meters and.
Yes. See if you get an answer and see if it's the same as everybody else. So if you're not sure, this is how I would do it without numbers. Right? I don't have numbers in there, but this is how I'd mess with it. Anybody get an answer yet? .008 times 10 to the negative 1. I hear 1.008 times 10 to the negative 1. Nobody else get that? Okay. Now report. Now you got to be careful though. This is the one question on the exam that says report your answer to the right number of sig figs. Well, I guess there could be another one with a math calculation. But give your answer to the same number of sig figs as you started out with. Yes. Don't forget units. You got to write units there. So if you report your answer to the right number of sig figs, what do you get? Oh, you need another. Don't you need another 16? That's,
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I went off this.
All right. Good. Good. Okay, you got it. You got it. So if you take that, divide by that, times that, you get 0.108. Okay. So you could write like Connor's guy here, 1.01 times 10 to the negative 1. But you don't have to write in scientific notation. The calculator didn't give it to you in scientific notation. It gave it to you as 1008, but you got to round it, so 0.101. All right. But see how it's easier to see the sig figs, I think, when you write it in scientific notation. There's no question. 1.01, you have 3 sig figs. 0.101, yeah, 3 sig figs if you're used to doing it. But either one would work. Okay. So Sydney, you see how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything on top multiply, bottom divide, order doesn't matter. You want to do another one of these or move on to something else? Okay. Let's pick on Dylan. Dylan, we've got a list of problems here. What type of... The last one? Mass of a single molecule or formula unit. All right, where is that? I saw it somewhere. Oh, there's one. Question 2. I should have numbered these better. It's what is the mass of a single CO2 molecule? What is the mass of a single CO2 molecule? See if you remember how to do that. There was a kind of a trick to it. Just got to remember what to do. What is the mass of a single CO2 molecule? That's Connor. He knows.
You go all the way to Avogadro's.
Yeah, whenever they're talking about molecules or atoms or something like that, it's gonna involve Avogadro's number for sure. It will involve Avogadro's number. So you got to remember what to do with it. Yeah, and AMU is the same as a gram per mole. So it's the same thing. It works. So does anybody remember what to do? Find the what? Find the molar mass. That's how we call it. Find the molar mass from the periodic table. Then do what? Divide by Avogadro's number. Exactly. And that works for anything. Find the molar mass and divide it by Avogadro's number. 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Just got to remember to do it, right? And anybody get C? Well, let's make sure you can plug that into your calculator. And the question says nothing about sig fig, so just report your answer with 3 or 4 digits. Well, what are the units for molar mass? AMU or grams per mole. And Avogadro is per mole. So the per moles really cancel. So you can call it AMU as an answer or grams. Grams sounds better, I think. But okay. Did you get like 7.31 or so? Yeah. Times 10 to the negative 23 grams. All right. Where's Emily? Emily, did you like that question? Do you understand it? Yes. So we don't need to do another one, do we? No. Okay, Connor. Where's Connor? Connor, on this list, what type of question would you like to try?
The third one from the bottom.
Third one from the bottom. Convert grams to moles, moles to grams. Okay. Let's find some of that stuff. Here's some. 38 and 42. Calculate the mass in grams of the following. 0.205 moles of iron. Obtain the moles of 2.57 grams of arsenic. Try those two. These two right here. Find the mass in grams of 0.205 moles of iron. And let's make this last one a lot more complicated. Let's change this to something a lot uglier. Something, if you can do this. I'm changing the last one to make it a lot uglier. Because if you can do this, you can handle anything I'm going to throw at you on the exam. That's why.
Is it going to be percent composition?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Most definitely be percent composition in the exam. So try both of these. I changed the bottom one. I erased arsenic and wrote calcium phosphate. Good. Exactly. Just set up the moles so they cancel. Exactly right. So for the first one, yeah, I got about 11.4. For this next one, change that arsenic to calcium phosphate. So what are you guys getting for a molar mass for this thing? 310? Getting around 3 got 350. So I see 310 mostly, but for the molar mass, I also saw 350. You got 310 too, right, Paul? So a lot of people are getting 310, so I think 310 is probably right for the molar mass. Yeah. Only if it's says to. But it's good practice. You have 3 sig figs, so just give your answer in 3 sig figs.
Okay.
Now there's a bonus question down here. Someone wanted bonus, so it doesn't really mean anything, but it's a bonus question.
I just want extra points for them.
So did you get 8.28 times 10 to the negative 3? Did you get 8.28 times 10 to the negative 3? Yeah, okay. Somewhere around 8.28, 8.29 or so times 10 to the negative 3.
Is there going to be a problem like this? It gives you grams of this.
Yeah, grams converting to something else. Oh, using a reaction? Oh, we don't know. We haven't done mole ratios from a reaction yet. How many calcium? How about this one? How many calcium atoms in 12 grams of calcium phosphate? See if you remember how to do that. So you should get about 8.29 times 10 to the negative 3 moles for number 42. What about our bonus question? See if you remember how to do that. It's brownie points. How many calcium atoms in 12 grams of calcium phosphate? Make sure you can get, the one before this before you move on, though. That's the whole point of this review. So start with the 12 grams of calcium phosphate. Convert that to moles, and keep that box going, and just keep canceling units. And then after you go from moles, then you go to moles of the calcium. Then you go to atoms using Avogadro. All right. Let's see if you remember here. Okay, if you're not sure how to do this one, I don't have numbers in my answer. I just have the units. Okay, but they want calcium atoms. So I would write this stuff out because it would really help you. Because if this is grams of calcium phosphate, this has to be moles of calcium phosphate. Your moles of calcium phosphate isn't going to cancel, right? Because this is moles of calcium.
Yeah.
So I would write that in, like the moles of calcium phosphate, mole of calcium phosphate, because it has to be that way. Otherwise, it won't cancel. Because this is grams of calcium phosphate, so this has to be grams of calcium phosphate.
So
This is okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Because the grams of calcium phosphate has to cancel. So that has to cancel, and it does. Now you have mole of calcium phosphate.
We have more of calcium too.
So mole of calcium phosphate has to be in the bottom, otherwise it won't cancel.
So this one has to be
Ca3, yeah? Okay. Now the trick to doing this, you wanted calcium.
yeah.
So what's the ratio of this to this stuff? There's how many calciums in there? There's 3 of them, so you put a 3 up there. And there's only one of those. It's just a ratio. Like there's 2 phosphoruses or 8 oxygens.
So then,
Now you go from moles to the number using Avogadro. So mole Ca has to cancel, so it has to go on the bottom.
1 mole,
1 mole Ca is how many atoms?
40.
That's molar mass.
Yeah, that's his molar mass. It's the
that Avogadro's number.
6.0.
22 times 10 to the 23rd. Yeah, it should be huge. I don't know if that's the answer or not. See what everybody else gets. Yeah, because you're in calcium atoms. So you should get a really big number. So did you guys get an answer yet? Around 7 times 10 to the 22 or so? Okay, did some rounding.
If you said phosphate, it should just be, would it be 2 to 1?
Oh, if it was, yeah, if I said moles of phosphate, you're right, it'd be 2 to 1. However, what if I said oxygen?
It'd be
8 to 1. Yep.
Okay.
So you guys got about around 7 times 10 to the 22 if I do some rounding, right? Yeah. Somewhere around 7 times 10 to the 22. Okay. Audrey, did you get it? Okay. Did you want to do another one of those or move on? Do the one under it. Okay. Yeah, I'll leave it there. So if you get it, do the one under it. 76. Adipic acid. They give you the percents of all the elements. They give you the molar mass. They want to know what the molecular formula is. If you're not sure where to start, yeah.
Exactly what you. I'm just confused on the rounding and stuff. So like, do I just round it 4 when I divide it by the?
So you divide it by 12.01. So write down all these digits because remember you have to divide through by the smallest. And if you don't write down everything, you're gonna get messed up.
Okay.
So don't do any rounding.
Okay.
Until you get all these
The
simple
very end.
ratios. Yeah, and you're supposed to write little subscripts. There you're supposed to get whole numbers.
Okay. And then at the bottom, if it's like a 0.5, we multiply it by 2.
Everything,
Okay.
all the ratios
Okay,
by 2.
perfect.
Step 1. Oh! You're welcome.
I hope that still matters.
Yeah, I hope so. I better do this myself. Yep.
After we get these, we divide by
Then you divide through by the smallest one. Yep.
I was gonna ask, when would be a good time to turn in the homework? Either today or
Or you turn in as soon as it should be turned in right now. You probably will. You'll survive without the points. You will survive. You will survive.
Because what happened was I had seen it. I was like, oh, it was just review today, but it was on the word section that I saw the word review on it.
You will survive. It will be okay.
Oh, what's called? I need to see if the chemistry club made those flyers.
I don't.
I was gonna put like because we were gonna put some on bulletin board to see what people would come.
Oh, yeah, you better talk to me after class.
Okay, I probably come by here around 2:20.
Okay. All right, so hopefully you converted everything to moles, divided through by the smallest, and oh, you erased everything. I can't see what you guys did. I can't copy your numbers. Well, I see a, here, 1.5, a 2.5, and a 1. 1. You said 1.5, right? Okay, so hopefully you got this far after you divide through by the smallest. Okay. Now Kendall's asking about rounding. Now's a good time to round because you divide through by the smallest, you got the nice little ratios, but that's too much to round. You got to remember those numbers, 0.5, 0.333, right? 0.25. You can't round those. Multiply everything by what? Multiply everything by 2. So I get a 3, a 5, and a 2. So my empirical formula is C3H5O2. That's my empirical formula. All right. But I don't want the empirical formula. I want the molecular formula. So hopefully you divided 146 by, what, 36, 41, 72. And Dylan, you got about what? Around 2. So I'm off by a factor of 2. So my final answer, all right, C6H10O4. All right, did you get it? C6H10O4? Okay. So Giselle, where's Giselle? Did you get it? C6H10O4? Do you want to do another one of those or try something else? Another Avogadro one. Okay. Let's calculate the number of oxygen atoms in, start right here. All right? And then let's change this to a grams. Man, you can do this, you're good. Calculate the number of oxygen atoms in 5.8 moles of CO2. Calculate the number of oxygen atoms in 48.1 grams of potassium chromate. You get these two done by the end in about 5 minutes, and you're doing really good. You really know your stuff. 5.8 grams of CO2. No, 5.8 moles of CO2. No, that is, what did I change that to? Oh, it's all messed up. I didn't. This is the one I changed. We're after oxygen atoms. 5.8 moles. It's 5.8 moles. And then the bottom one will be grams. Moles. They want oxygen atoms. They want 5.8 moles of CO2. So then in 1 mole of CO2, now if they wanted grams of CO2, you'd be good.
So I don't need.
No, you don't need this. But this has to be moles of CO2, right? So that's what you're starting out with. So mole CO2, at least that part you had right. Mole CO2 on the bottom. But that's more, if you write that number, that has to be grams. That's not going to cancel with that. So down here, before you write numbers, maybe just put in all the units. This has to be moles of CO2. And they're after oxygen atoms. So how many oxygens? There's 2 of them. There you go. That's the trick to it for every one of those. And then mole O2 has to go down there. Right? One of those. Oh, you know what? We could just, instead of doing O2, we want O, right? 2 moles of O. There's 2 moles of O for every 1 mole of CO2. Sorry, you're right. Right? 1 mole of CO2, you have 2 O's. So 2 moles of O. So that's just an O. And then Avogadro's number of O atoms. Did you get the first one? Right? This unit has to be down there. Otherwise it won't cancel. Mole O's. Find out what that ratio is. And then use Avogadro. Right. So put in the units first. Sometimes that seems to help me. You don't want to go to grams, right? You don't want to go to grams. Stay in moles. If you had grams, you have to go to moles. But you're already in moles. So just leave it in moles.
So, Dr. Smith?
Yeah.
We have that, so we had to convert.
Now down here for that one, oh, Audrey, were you doing the bottom one? This one you're going to have to get it into moles first, right? Here you're going to have grams potassium chromate. Otherwise it won't cancel. And then you'll have moles potassium chromate. And you got to put in the numbers here. Right? Okay. So we'll practice this a lot more on tomorrow at noon.
This is what we need for next lab, right? Investigation 3.
Yes. Lab 3 is the next lab. So have a good day. Come by if you have some questions. I'll be glad to work on this stuff with you.